What's up, guys? So today I want to talk about a sort of trip up in mentality that I used to have back when I was in high school, for sure. And I don't think I've completely gotten rid of it, and it may or may not be a natural thing that a lot of people have. I feel like it is, and this can help guys or girls out, and I think for the most part it will help out guys, especially those who are kind of shy and prefer to stay in their comfort zone and not approach girls or stuff like that. And I think this is a very common thing, so I would definitely deem like the vast majority of guys to fall into this category. I mean, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of guys are pretty shy and prefer their comfort zone whether they admit it or not. They might put up like a confident front, but when you look real deep into it, I mean, the amount of truly confident dudes I know is very, very little, and I've talked to a lot of people. So this is the basic mentality, and what sparked it was just reminiscing on a couple homecoming dances I went to. And it was just me just sitting there, standing like in the middle of, the typical floor of people dancing, all huddled up. And it was smelly, it was messy, but yeah, I was too scared to approach anyone. I didn't want to face rejection. I just kept thinking in my head I wasn't worthy enough, and yet at the same time, a certain part of me thought, or at least wanted to really, really approach. So it made me pretty much like unable to leave the venue and yet unable to approach. It was a weird sort of thing, like a tug of war type of thing. And this sort of thing has gone on for multiple events throughout my life since high school. So that's been like 7+ years. And it's sort of like this tug of war kind of thing where you're like, am I worthy enough to approach? And at the same time, you're too shy and too scared to, and yet you won't leave the venue or anything because you want to talk to them, but at the same time you can't. And so basically, I was reminiscing on these times, and I remembered when what I would think. And here's the thing: there was times throughout my school life and during these homecoming dances where girls that were annoying or unattractive in my eyes, or just blatantly rude or gross, they would approach me and they would try and dance with me. And I remember one time during a dance, like, there's one girl in particular I wanted to talk to and approach, and maybe like a couple others I kind of wanted to talk to, not as much as this one girl. And that one girl was very nice, very down to earth. She didn't treat people like they were like below her, and that was saying something because she was very good looking too. And she always treated me like very nice. And back in the day, I was kind of a loser, and I was too hung up on this girl. And I shouldn't have been. I mean, she was just a girl. Like, you shouldn't really judge someone based on their social status or whatever. And she was at the top of the social league, you could say, in high school. She was very popular and stuff. And looking back, I'm like, you shouldn't care about that stuff. Like, she wasn't that great anyways, and she's just a girl, and right now I treat people equally regardless of social status, and I let they themselves reveal how they truly are, and then I will judge them from there, you could say. And so here's the story. I was there and I wanted to approach this girl, and then like an annoying girl who I didn't find attractive at all. Bless her heart, she's a nice girl, but I just wasn't feeling it. She was just, you know, she was just man mode, and she went up on me, and she just went straight up and was grinding really hard on me, and I wasn't feeling it at all. And I tried to be very, very nice, and yeah, that lasted for quite a while. Moving on, she eventually left, and basically it leads to this mentality that a lot of people might have, and that's just, well, girls can, like, here's the mentality. Quote, girls can obviously approach me. I just saw a girl approach me. They obviously can have the courage to approach me. And because only girls that I feel are unattractive approach me, and the attractive ones that I do like do not approach me, therefore I only deserve the unattractive ones, because the ones that are attractive aren't interested in me because they don't approach me. And that's a horrible mentality to have. You can't just 100% conclude that people don't like you because they don't approach you. A lot of people, I would say the vast majority, are shy and prefer the comfort zone. Girls too. Definitely girls too. Most girls are shy and prefer the comfort zone, whether they admit it or not. A lot of them will not approach because it's hard. I mean, being a guy and having approached before and being shot down, it's hard. And then doing it again can be just as hard. And you could say it gets easier with time, but still, it's very hard. And so, I do have a lot of respect for girls who understand this pain and make it their own to approach men. Like, they just man up and do it, and I have respect for them. But there's not a lot of them. That's going to be very rare, and I mean, it's probably 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100, and meeting a girl like that, I would have a lot of respect, and I would start up a conversation just based on that, because I have a lot of respect for it, and I know how hard it is, and you have to be like a beast to do it. And if you're one of those girls, leave a comment. But yeah, if you're not, go ahead and leave a comment too, and say what's stopping you, or why you're not, or if you want to change, and I can respond with some sort of advice or feedback to help you. But basically, yeah, the general idea with society is they expect the man to approach. Even in modern times, it's just the unfortunate sort of circumstance. And you shouldn't even view it as unfortunate, because that is just how nature works. If you look at other animals, other species, they don't complain. Okay, they just do it. They don't complain. They don't cry about it. And in some species, it's a flip side. So it's a matriarchal system. So the females have to man up, and then the males are like cowardly and stuff. And that's just how that species work. And you don't see them sitting there crying about it. I don't know too much about nature and biology in that regard, so I can't say too much. I'm assuming possibly there is like some instances of organisms being more cautious if they don't have advantageous traits. But regardless, they're not saying they're literally crying about it. And so back to this mentality, you can't say, oh, these girls aren't approaching, these type of girls aren't approaching, the ones I like aren't approaching. Therefore, I conclude with 100% accuracy that they are not interested in me. They can be interested in you, and they are just not, they don't want to approach because they're too shy. And that's just how it is. And looking back, I feel like, I don't want to use the word regret, because regret's a bad word. It'll put like unhealthy mentality into your head. But there are definitely instances where I could have done a little bit better back in my past, especially in high school. And looking back, not realizing it now, there were various instances where, I would say various, I mean, I wasn't that great a dude in high school, but a couple instances with a few high quality girls that I passed up. And looking back, they were either eyeing me or they were showing some hints that they possibly were interested in me, or at least initially. I mean, from a current standpoint, girls can be initially interested in you and then lose interest really quickly after they talk to you and find out your personality. I don't really know why. Maybe my personality sucks once I open my mouth, but that's just what happens. So back to my point. They can be interested in you despite not ever approaching. It's just they're shy. So don't conclude that. And sometimes certain girls just have that ability to man up and do all the stuff to go up to you and approach. And sometimes it's just not the girls you want to approach you. And this was the case. And I mean, there's one thing that can be said about that. It's just down to the fact that some girls, I don't really know why. Maybe it's just they have this sudden, like, they feel like they are, you know, playing up a league because they're at a disadvantage, and so they feel like they have to man up. And quite honestly, that's just how it works. So all I have to say is, don't just give up like I sometimes did with this mentality. And this was just a natural thing that I kind of automatically thought to myself in my mind very quickly, almost unconsciously. And yeah, it kind of screwed up some opportunities and made me a little bit more depressed. So yeah, just live life and man up. That's it, man up. Whether you're a guy or a girl. If you're a girl, yeah, approach a guy. And rejection is part of the game, and it happens for guys and girls. You have to move on, and it's not that big a deal. I do know, I have met a lot of people, guy and girl, who can deal with rejection very well. So it's really not that big of an issue. And it just seems like a lot of the lesser attractive girls, they have to develop more of a game and man up a lot more. Maybe just to increase their opportunities because they are lesser attractive, and I applaud them for that. And that is why they are not shy. But other girls are shy, and they can afford to be shy and stay in this comfort zone because they are attractive and they have the options to do so. So even if they really, really like you, like really, really like you, they might just choose to stay in their comfort zone and not do anything. Why? Because one, I mean, you do it yourself. I do it myself. I don't even have options. And unfortunately, in my past, there have been a lot of opportunities where I chose comfort zone and just not approaching or anything, rather than approaching and risking embarrassment and rejection. And then the second reason would be because these girls are attractive and they have options. They have guys who are willing to approach them and do stuff with them. And so I don't know how many times this has happened, but I feel like it's a lot. And all of it's usually been without any sort of verbal communication. So it's kind of like, there's like a feeling of it not happening much, but then at the same time it's a feeling of, man, this happens quite a lot because nothing's ever said. It's just all verbal communicate, or not verbal, non-verbal communication that I see this. But here's the story. This has happened quite a few times. I would see this girl usually at like the homecoming dance or whatever, and there'd be like hip hop music playing or whatever. That's irrelevant. But the point is, I really want to approach her and stuff. And then the girl is showing signs of interest. She's noticed me from afar, and she's either eyeing me or she's showing signs that she's either interested or maybe she wants to approach. But it's so subtle and vague and very, very subtle that you are not sure. You're for certain not sure. And I'm just not sure what to do because I'm too shy and I'm too scared of rejection and embarrassment. So because I have low self-esteem and, I'm that scrawny, tall, skinny Asian kid with glasses at this thing alone, I'm like, there's no way. I mean, she's so good looking. She's got all these friends. There's no way. And then I just dwindle there and walk around and kind of just stand there and like almost I'm afraid to approach, and I hover in the area for like ages. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 20 minutes goes by, and then the girl realizes that I'm super shy and like a super coward. And after, like, usually they lose interest or give up in a way far sooner than me. Probably at the 10-minute mark, they're like, okay, this guy is never going to approach, and they leave. And I guess that's just because girls have a far better sense of body language deciphering than guys do. And I'm still thinking after like the 15 to 20 minute mark, I can still do this. I can still do this. And then maybe I'll follow her to like the drinking area where she's already packed up and ready to leave the venue. And I'm like, I can still do this. I can still do this. And she's already like, okay, I'm over her. I'm over him. Or, and this has happened on a few rare occasions that I still feel has happened quite a lot, because there's so much feeling of almost regret in my mind. It's like I can barely remember some of these memories, but the emotion there is still so very strong that I remember them. And that's a big thing about memory, by the way. You remember, the most vivid memories are those that go along with strong emotion, not just memories without emotion. So I remember these very rare circumstances where maybe even after the 20-minute mark, she's still interested for some reason. And I guess she's just really, really interested in me, and she has hope still. So she's still hovering around the venue, even after me hovering there 20 minutes, too scared to approach, but still like moving about the area in semi-close proximity to her. And then she's still interested, but then like you can tell she's half lost interest, but she's still kind of interested. And I'm like, wow, you've held on so long for me. You still have hope for me. Usually girls give up by now. You still have hope for me. I'm going to prove you right. And then I just screw up more. I waste like 2 to 5 more minutes not approaching. And then usually another guy comes along and then just straight up approaches. And most of the, like, okay, not most of the time. I remember this one time, and this was at that homecoming event, where the guy who approached, you couldn't really say he was anyway better looking or, more buff than me. He was kind of skinny, scrawny, but he was Caucasian. The girl was Caucasian, and I was Asian, first off. And on top of that, he had higher social status than me, you could say that. He had more friends and stuff. But at the same time, the point was, I was like, this guy, and then I was like, come on, are you kidding me? This guy is approaching. And then the worst part is the girl's like, she accepts this guy, and they're grinding and dancing on a dance floor. And I'm just looking from afar like, wow, wow, I can't believe this. This guy's not even that much better than me. And then the worst part is like, I can see it in her eye. I saw that she was not that interested in him. She was kind of like, I'm not really interested in this. And they were there for quite a while dancing. Why? Because I felt like the guy wouldn't take a hint and leave. But for about 10 minutes, he was with him. And I would consider that pretty short, because the girl, I mean, she was nice, but at the same time, I didn't think she was feeling it. She was waiting for me to approach. And I never did. And I mean, girls are very socially calibrated. So that ended my story, and she left the venue fairly quickly after that, because I don't know, she had other plans. She probably had other stuff to do after it. And am I going to sit here and cry about it? No. I mean, she's just a girl. Regardless of how much I quote unquote idolized her in high school, I didn't really idolize her that much, but at the same time, maybe. She's just a girl, and no matter how great she was or how great I thought she was, there's other fish in the sea. So I'm over it, and yeah, judging from her Facebook, she has a relationship right now, so I totally respect that, and I haven't actually talked to her since high school, so it's been years. But she was always very nice to me, and so I wish her the best. And as always, there's so many other girls in this world. You should never be hung up about it. Like, if there's a lot of people who are stuck after breaking up in a relationship and can't get over it. You have to realize there's billions of girls in this world. It's hard for me to. I mean, I live in a ghost town area with not too many options or girls. I live in a very ghost town area. But at the same time, you gotta realize that you have a future ahead. I'm looking to my future once I move out of my home, and I actually get a chance to possibly travel and leave this ghost town area. And it's gonna be scary. I don't know if I'll have the guts to do it, but we'll see what happens. So, if you watched all 22 minutes, thank you for that. I have a lot of respect for you guys for respecting me so much to watch all of this video up until the end. Thank you very much. Leave a comment if you do. I will try and respond back with a thanks, and I will know if anyone's actually watched this entire thing, because on YouTube, I mean, the click-through rate is like first 1 minute and then they leave. That's just how people are. But thank you, and I really feel like you really don't get the full effect, or even half the full effect of the advice I impart in this video without watching the full thing. So you guys staying until the end, you've gotten the entire gist of the advice. And I'm not done. There's more to be said. Just one final point, just about that whole unhealthy mentality. Just realize, man up, approach, and don't use it as a way of getting out of it. And that was just my one story. Quite honestly, there have been very few occurrences, but at the same time, I feel like I'm forgetting a lot. But the memory's still there of just sort of regret. And yeah, just if you're ever feeling that sort of feeling, look back to my story. Just remember Will and how he was in high school, Just remember him standing there and just like unable to approach. And then a guy like sweeps in and just approaches and then beats him to a chase almost immediately. And then you're like, screw you, you're worse off than me. Curse you. And that's just how the game is played. And approaching is a part of it. So I'm not mad at that guy for doing so, and I'm not mad at myself or the girl for leaving that quickly. I'm not mad at myself because I've learned from it, and the guy, I have no hard feelings from him, but if you are lacking in the approach, then that's something that has to be fixed, and therefore the guys who can approach are, like it or not, a leg up ahead of you. So that's why they get the reward of the girl accepting the approach. And yeah, just think of that story whenever you're having a hard time. Whether you're a guy or girl and you're having a hard time approaching, it doesn't even have to be a direct approach. I mean, these feelings of regrets seem to stem from mostly like homecoming dances and stuff like that. And quite honestly, I've not been to a lot of homecoming dances or like dance events at all, so I'm pretty sure I'm missing my memories, but I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other events in just general areas, like in school in general, where I remember, you know, seeing a girl and finding her attractive and wanting to approach, and then just not approaching, and then a guy just very quickly swoops in and approaches, and then it's done from there. And usually I see her like looking at me while the guy's approaching. And I don't know. Sometimes it's just like, it feels like the girl's only being so nice to the guy who approached just to show me that it's not that bad. The approach will not be that bad. I will not get a negative, harsh reaction. But by that time, at least back in the day, I would feel like, wow, he's already approached. I'm just out of it. It's over, and then I leave. Now I realize that's an unhealthy mentality, and I would think to myself, that's not right. I still have a chance, and it's hard. I don't know. I don't have everything figured out. I have a lot to learn, I guess. So for sure, I have a lot to learn. If you have any advice for me, I greatly appreciate it. Leave it in the comments so I can read. Make sure it's not generic advice that I've heard a million times. Make it unique, interesting, detailed, and vibrant. And as always, thank you for watching all 28 minutes of this video. That shows you have a lot of respect, or you're very interested in this topic, and you're rewarded with the full spectrum of my advice. Those who clicked away at the 10-minute mark or the 5-minute mark, they won't get this at all. They will come out with very little of the full 100% of my advice. So thank you, and I'll see you guys later. As always, like, favorite, and comment, and subscribe is free for more future videos. I'll see you guys later.